Thomas, the man, the myth, the legend. What's happening, bro?
Not too much, Richie. Another day, bro.
Another day.
Trying to get the energy, man, and then I feel super exhausted. I didn't get very good sleep last night, but
It's this weather, dude.
it's the weather. Yeah, my dog too was keeping me up, but yeah, the weather's actually been really nice. I like it a lot. It's really cooled off, and
Oh yeah, I love this time of year when it's all gloomy and nice and cold. And as I get older, I'm hating the heat, man.
yeah,
Just hating the heat.
yeah.
So I kind of look forward to this time of year.
I know when we get really old, I hear that's like actually like it gets really hard in the winter once you get a lot older, you know. When you're
with
when you're 80
arthritis
or
and-
something, your joints start feeling it really bad.
Can't be any worse in the summer. In the summer, I'm out there, man. I'm pouring sweat. I'm hating it. I'm hiving. I'm like, ugh, I'm sticky. I hate this shit.
Yeah, you got to watch out for heat stroke in the
Heat
summer when you're
stroke,
older
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Remember that time when all these people were dying of heat stroke?
Oh.
This was like 4 or 5 years ago or
Just
something like that.
people like getting left in their cars and stuff.
No, they're just going to a grocery store and passing out. I'm like, dude, there's a freezer right there. Just walk in there, get some milk, and cool yourself off. But yeah, there was a time that was a big issue in the United States. Was there's a heat stroke
Like, damn,
pandemic kind of deal.
Just drink some water, bro.
Yeah, it's like, it's 100. I can't take it anymore. But yeah,
Man, I know those people in Arizona are probably like, you wussies.
yeah. Well, I'm sure they
man.
love it with the heat. If you live somewhere like in Arizona, Texas, where it's really hot.
Yeah,
I can't.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I love Idaho, so
And then you get like the bugs and stuff. In those places where it's always warm, the bugs are like massive.
Oh yeah.
You know, I hear like about the scorpions in Arizona. You get like scorpion infestations under your house and shit.
Dude, I get scared of a cockroach or a spider, let alone a scorpion chasing your ass.
Yeah, I like it. I like it here. It gets cold, it gets warm, it gets cold, it gets warm.
Yeah.
It's like a normal place.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, funny thing you said about scorpions. Did you ever hear about those scorpions that are in the tequila bottles?
Oh yeah,
Have you ever seen one of those?
I've heard of it.
Did you know that once the scorpion is stuck in there, they're stuck in there alive. They're so drunk that they commit suicide. They kill themselves.
What? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, they're so
Really?
intoxicated with the tequila that they just
Like they just sting themselves.
yeah,
with
they
their
just
tail
kill
or
themselves.
something? Oh,
I thought it was the weirdest shit I ever read in my life.
so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah.
They don't just like drown or something. That's not how they die.
No,
From drowning.
I guess not, dude. Like, fuck this, I'm
It's
drunk.
like
Let's call it a,
It's like
let's call it a day.
drowning is too slow. I gotta.
I kill myself. Oh God, but yeah. And what's going on in the world today, Thomas? What we're gonna talk about?
A lot, bro. There's a
lot.
lot going on, man. Holy crap.
This world's going insane. Well, not this world, the United States especially.
Yeah, the U.S. It's we're the drama center of the world. I feel like sometimes,
Right.
especially the way these presidential debates go. Sometimes
Yeah.
the most recent one in question.
Oh my God, that was such a handicap match, 3 against
wow,
1.
dude.
Dude, what'd you think about it?
Oh man, exactly what you said. A handicap, man. 3 against 1. You couldn't. It was hard to listen to. Just so hard to listen to. The obvious bias going on with the moderators. Trump couldn't get on the offense at all. It was totally on the defense the whole time. Every
Right.
time he said something, the moderators had to chime in about what he said. Never did Kamala Harris have to deal with such scrutiny
No fact
during that
checking.
debate. No fact checking whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that was complete bullshit. What really, really got me upset was, and I probably talked to you about this earlier, but the policies that she's saying, well, this is what we're going to do for the immigration. We're going to stop immigration. We're going to stop the economical shithole that's been happening. Where were you in the last 3.5 years?
All right. It's been
That's something Trump should have said. Like 3.5 years, and you want to talk about immigration? You want to talk about fixing the economy? We can't fix something you broke.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not Joe Biden, no, but you're the one saying that's first of all, it's your administration. Second of all, you're vice president. You have a lot of pull into that as well,
It's true.
That's what
It's
vice
true.
presidents do.
Yeah. It's kind of, it feels like they've just wanting an open border, right? Isn't that kind of like the policy that a lot of...
They want an open border. No, well, she's saying she don't.
She says she doesn't.
She doesn't, right?
She doesn't,
But we've had the biggest immigration. I mean, I don't want to say they've taken over because they're not taking over, right? I mean, there's about 17 million, 70 million. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane amount of immigrations.
Yeah.
And I guess this was Trump was saying that crime in South America, like Venezuela, is going down because everyone's just coming over here. And I read in this article that they're letting prisoners go. They say you can leave, but if you come back to Venezuela, you're coming back to prison. So they leave Venezuela and come to the United States.
Yeah.
And that's the whole Trump argument, I guess you would say, right? That's the problem.
I see.
I don't. Mexico may be the same, but it really sucks for the immigrants that want to come and make a good life, because Mexico is a rough economy to live in. Corrupt government,
definitely
very hard to live, and
it
people
undermines a lot of the people that came here legally. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, just because a lot of people work hard to get here and to do it the right way, and it undermines the efforts that they had to put forth.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all.
Not at all.
When some guy's trying to bring his whole family, paying fees up the ass, I bet, for visas and stuff, and then comes here and works hard for his family, and then you got people from other countries just walking in like they fucking own the joint. This is the only country you can do that to, and this is the only country that people say it's racism. I can't just go to Germany and be like, nah, I want to stay here. Or I can't just I can't go to England and be like, nah, you know what? I'm staying here now. You can't do that. They'll be like, oh, get your ass out of here. Your visa has expired.
Exactly.
But
other countries are so hard on immigration, It's like we're like, pussycats compared. And even in under, other laws, there's work visas, that people get, and they stay past their work visas, and they're still here illegally, and they really get a really good ride, before it starts getting serious about deportation.
Well, they were staying in like all these nice hotels, and I guess they were canceling schools for the children in New York for the immigrants to stay there, and being like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they canceled quite a few schools.
Oh my gosh,
up in the east, and because they needed a place to stay,
and they were just boarding them up in the schools.
$1,500. Yeah, they're boarding up in the schools, giving them $1,500 of food stamps, and
my gosh.
Government funding. There is no such thing as government funding. There is us funding. Where do you think the government gets their money from? Our tax money.
Exactly.
There is no government funding at all. So when the government says, "Yeah, we're government funding student loans," no, we're paying other people's students' loans.
It's true.
We're not going to school, but yet we're paying for it.
Yeah. Anytime America's paying for anything, it's the people of America.
Yeah, and that's all Biden administration. That's all. I mean, okay, I guess it's good to pay a student loan if you need it. I mean, I'm not opposed against that. There's some people that can't afford it. People that live in slums that say, I want to better my life. I want to go to school. Yeah, but to erase all student loans.
Yeah,
and then the bank gets their refund.
Yeah, because how does that get paid for? Obviously, it's going to come out of the taxpayer fund. So it just, the more that they do these kind of tax breaks and things like that, and or not tax breaks, excuse me, but with the education, where they give you a break on a loan or something like that, it is diminishing, the American dollar for the citizen, because like we become more in debt. Things like
inflation goes up.
Yeah, inflation goes up. It's just all around.
And I felt like Trump didn't bring any of that up. He dropped the ball
during
with
the debate.
During the debate, he dropped that. He dropped the ball.
He was so off. Like in terms of like just balance. He was struggling kind of. I think to just stay above water in the sense of I've got three people trying to hold me down under this river,
Right.
And
he was feeling the frustration with the moderators fact checking
getting,
every fucking thing he said.
He was getting a little emotional.
Yeah.
Things were just not falling into place for him as much as Harris. Obviously, the moderators were setting everything up for her to succeed in that debate.
Well, one of her stipulations was, I need to know the questions before you ask them. I mean, what kind of debate is that?
That's a Biden tactic.
That's a Biden tactic. That's a Kamala tactic now. And it's like, she lied so much. Did you watch those YouTube videos of the soldier's reaction when she said that there's no American soldier out on duty? And if you go on YouTube, you can look up American soldier's reaction to Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Dude, she was talking about, we have no American troops out and blah, 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 whatever she said. And they're like, what the fuck are we doing here then?
Yeah.
It was like ridiculous. Like she's lying straight to our face and we're supposed to like are we as people are we that ignorant? You know, like we're not that stupid. I
They
feel
think
like she's
so.
talking
They
to us like
think
we're
so.
stupid. You know?
I think they think that that's the case. You know that we're not going to really look into at least for sure. Like on her side of things, you know, there's a lot of people on the left and maybe even on the right. I'm not going to say there's not the right side too
Yeah.
on this, where they're not going to look up. They're not going to go and look it up for themselves to make sure that this is actually
Well,
correct information.
that was Trump's
But
job to be like, well, that's not true. You
yeah.
know, but of course it was 3 against 1.
Yeah. There were times where he would be like, that's a lie. This is not what it was. This is what happened during
Yeah.
on what really happened with this. And those were times where I felt like he was strong, but he had to be like that the entire time.
Yeah.
Like there weren't moments I feel like where he could really attack. Like the one thing that he brought up, I felt like kind of got, you know, it was not a good thing to bring up. The thing with the dogs and the cats. That was like something he tried to go on the offensive with that,
Right.
but it kind of hit him back in the face, I feel like. You know, it didn't sound like
Somebody should have told him, be like, dude, stay away from
Don't
dumb
bring
shit like
that
that.
up.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
And then another
Well, we were
thing,
talking about that earlier, and I was making the point, you know, the moderators were real quick though to say, well, we actually checked with the
yeah, they already knew the
with
answer,
person
huh?
on- yeah, like with that specific question, which I thought, or with that specific thing that Trump said, which I thought was kind of like an off the wall thing Trump
Mhm.
said, but they already knew this is a thing that we better be ready for and better answer about. Which I'm not going to say that people are eating their eating pets.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they're not.
I'm
either.
sure they are.
It's a
I don't
crazy
know.
world.
Yeah,
we
it's a
live
crazy
in, you know?
world.
Not too long ago, people were eating people with the whole bath salts thing. You know? So-
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And that was just, I feel like that was a trap. That was more of a trap, and he kind of fell for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Someone should be like, dude, just stay away from that. Who gives a that? You're not arguing in this debate about, you know, who's eating their pets. If it's happening, if it's not, there's other issues in the United States that
Yeah.
need to be addressed, like
Yeah.
the immigration law.
Yeah.
I mean, there is
the abortion,
the
thing,
abortion
the
deal,
thing
the
on-
crime. I mean, there's so many things that we don't want. I really don't give a shit. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I give a shit if they serve it to me, but
Yeah, that was one he could have left alone.
yeah, he
probably.
could have left alone. And another thing they could have left alone, and this is another trap, was when the moderator, I think his name is Dave Maurer, something like that. He asked Trump if Kamala Harris was either black or Indian.
Really?
Did you see that?
I missed that part. He asked Trump whether she was black or
Yeah,
Indian.
and he's like, "Why would I care if she's black or Indian?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, what he said was true. She did say she was Indian heritage, and now she's saying she's black, which, I mean, that's irrelevant to anything.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? If she wants to be Indian, she wants to be black, who
Right.
cares?
She's gonna change her tone of voice wherever she speaks
Yeah,
to. She's
you
gonna
know?
have a southern accent over here. She's gonna
Yeah.
have
Dude, that is so
Bronx accent
fake,
over
huh?
here.
That
Yeah.
is so fake.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't like her, because she's just so fucking fake, dude. Like, yeah, and then the things she was saying was just off the wall. And then when they talked about crime, he goes, well, crime's going up and so forth. And they're like, well, according to FBI statistics, crime's actually going down. I'm like, dude, what world do you live in?
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking about? You can't insult the American people like that, because we know crime's not going down.
No.
We
Yeah.
definitely know that.
Exactly.
We definitely know that inflation's not going down. Well, I was just looking at some stats, and they were from CNN, and they're saying inflation's down. I'm like, what are they?
I know,
what are you
and
talking about?
I don't know what world they live in, but
Yeah, it's like and that's the thing that
I feel like it's kind of evened out. It's not going.
of course, during
up
election
maybe
era.
now. Yeah, but it's definitely didn't go down. you
No.
know, from where-
And for the media to manipulate people like that is just unbelievable. That
Yeah.
should show why everyone's so scared of Trump. You know, why everyone is so worried about, because Trump is not he's a self-made billionaire. I mean, I'm sure he's had people help him,
Yeah.
especially his dad on the way. But
Yeah.
you can't buy someone like Trump, and Trump's like someone like, I don't want to do this, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And people just don't like that.
No,
They-
and he speaks very, plainly, very, and that's one of the things we say, Trump, oh, he doesn't speak well or something like that. But I think he speaks like a normal person.
Yeah.
I don't think he speaks in like these real like practice ways like these politicians do. That's one of the things I like about him is he's not that career politician.
What I like about him is that he takes the United States like a business. right?
Yeah.
Which you want. You want someone to look
Yeah,
at.
and I
No, I
think
don't
they
want to
want
do that.
yeah, they want you to feel like it's that you shouldn't treat it like a business, but I think that's like actually one of the best ways to do because if the business is doing well, that means the people are doing well.
Yeah, and
You
the
know, the
economy's
people
up, and
involved in the business are doing well. So if you're treating your country like a business and it's doing well, obviously, that gives you the power to treat your citizens well, your
right.
workers well, the people who work for your business.
And what's funny is, and this is something he totally missed, and I don't know why, but when they were talking about like inflation, and he didn't, he said inflation went up 11% in the Biden administration era. 11%,
Yeah.
right? Let's say that's 11,000 a year extra that you have to pay for
Mhm.
shit. Who the fuck got a raise through this whole year that we can afford to live 11% higher than what it
Yeah.
is? I'm talking about like groceries and
Mhm.
APRs and all that stuff. You
Well,
want
I will say that there was inflation raises that we got at our job, but
mhm,
definitely not nearly what it would take to offset
to
how bad
to live
inflation
off.
was.
Yeah,
Inflation was bad. We got some compensation for that at my job, but it wasn't nearly like what it should
enough.
be.
Yeah.
Not nearly close enough.
So yeah, I think he dropped the ball in a lot of things, and her just lying to us, like just flat out just lying. Like it seemed very insulting. Like we didn't
Hmm.
know. We live here. We know
Yeah.
how. We know the prices of groceries.
Yeah. Hmm.
And yeah, it was just very tough to watch.
Yeah, one of the things that she lied about was let's go if we want to go into this into the abortion thing was the when we've got like a 9 month terms, being
Right.
kind of like not being like they would be, or even just like the abortion failing and the fetus surviving, resulting into a baby, being outside the mother, it's alive still, no life-saving procedures happening. Where was this at
And it
again?
was in Minnesota actually.
Minnesota.
Which guess who's running vice president? He's
Vice president for Kamala Harris.
yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
You know,
Oh, yeah. Well, that would make sense.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And she denied it in front of everybody.
Right.
And like she can't.
And these are documented cases. We can look
yeah,
it up.
yeah, you can look
You
it
can
up.
look
These are
that up.
documented cases, and a lot of people maybe not well educated in that era, so she takes advantage of that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and that's something that I felt like Trump could have brought up, didn't think to bring up. Just again, like I felt like he was off balance. Where he was being attacked from all sides in that
Right.
with the moderators and Kamala Harris. It just wasn't going well for him in that regard.
yeah, I didn't. He missed a lot of ball points on that, and
yeah,
I felt
things
like.
that he could have brought up. He just.
But the
didn't.
fact checking was insane. Like Trump got fact checked 5 times. 5 times. Kamala Harris 0.
0, yeah.
0 times when she lied about the soldiers not being
Mhm.
out of overseas or anything. When she talked about the abortion, like you were saying, that's not true. Well, yeah, it's very true. We know all this, right?
Yeah.
We know this ain't the people are eating their dogs and no, this is something serious. And I mean, it's serious if you eat your pets, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
this is something that affects the
My
economy.
dog went missing, I'd be upset, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But-
But definitely, this is something that I feel like is a hot topic, and I think it's an important one to bring up because I feel like human life is a very important, very sacred thing, and I do feel like there are those um, situations
Right.
where in a life-saving situation, if the mother's life is at risk, the rape, the incest thing, it's a very low percentage, but I do think that those are things that are accounted for, in terms
Mhm.
of, these are the exceptions. And I
Yeah.
think those exceptions should have, a bit more, be looked at a bit more in terms of like, okay, maybe we have a reason to.
Right. I think you have 9 months. I mean, you don't even have it. You have like 6, 7 months
Yeah.
before. I don't know exactly the date that you can abort. Maybe 5.
Yeah.
Which I'm not opposed to that either because there are a lot of situations that.
But I mean, if it's rape or incest or something like that,
Yeah,
I mean, don't let it go to 5 months.
Yeah, don't
I
let it
mean,
go that long.
Don't let it go to 5 months. It's
So
like one of those
and
things.
Trump admitted to it on the debate, saying he's not opposed to that.
Yeah, these are exceptions that the exception is there, and I would assume written into the law,
Right.
that these exceptions are the exceptions, and we will allow these exceptions to go through, but other times, where it's like, okay, well, I just messed up. I
I
didn't wear a
decided not
condom.
to at the
I
end. Yeah.
wasn't on birth control. I was drunk. I was this. I was that. Those are the times where it's like, I
Yeah,
personally,
I saw a video of a woman going into getting an abortion, and the it was a young couple, and the dad was outside just bawling, just saying, "Hey, don't kill my baby, don't," and like banging on the window and just crying. And I feel like the father has some say too. You know,
yeah.
I know, oh, my body, my
Well,
choice,
mhm.
but she didn't do it on her own, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, like we were saying earlier, like there are exceptions, and I do
Yeah.
agree with that. You don't want to carry a baby that you got raped from, or
Yeah.
you don't want to. Yeah, it's just a very interesting topic, and I believe
Mhm.
that. I mean, yeah, everyone has their choice, but do it
Yeah.
early. Do it
Yeah,
early. If
do
you're
it
gonna do
early
it,
if
do
you're
it
gonna do it
early.
early. Exactly. I don't think that should go on for long. If you're even thinking about it, just get it over with. And do it
Yeah.
early. That's what
How is a microorganism in Mars life, but not a 9-month child?
yeah.
That makes no sense to me
Makes no
whatsoever.
sense. They'll pick and choose, when life is life, when it's
Yeah.
agreeable for them. But it's yeah, it's a tough subject. It is. I'm not.
Especially when we haven't been in
Yeah,
that shoe.
yeah. Because I have a lot of people that are close to me that are, very also passionate on the other side of the subject,
What do you
too.
mean? Like,
Well, like you say, it's like, well, my body, my choice
mhm.
type people, and people I care about, people I love, and they have that opinion, and I understand, and I get it, that you want to be, sovereign over your own body, and I think that because that person, that is now conceived inside of a woman has no voice to speak for themselves. Who's going to speak for that person?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, yeah, it's a very dramatic experience, I'm sure. And yeah, it's just crazy. But at 9 months, I think that's even crazier.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I'm going to say it's a baby already at 9 months. It's not
At
fully.
9 months, it's a baby.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
baby.
not gonna. Yeah.
And
It's
for
like
you just to leave it to die,
it's like, oh, tomorrow it's a baby because it's now outside the mother. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't fly. I mean, that's not cool. But yeah, it's just a weird, weird world we live in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just very weird.
Which I don't. And again, and I want to be fair. I don't think that like a 9 month term is gonna be like something that is gonna happen a lot.
Right.
A 9 month term abortion. How often is that going to happen? Probably not often.
I don't know. I guess it's very common in Minnesota.
Is
They
it?
wait till the end. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand.
I mean, that
why.
would be scary. I have to look some of those numbers up. And
Yeah.
obviously, that it's ever happened where you have a living baby who survives an abortion and then just left on the table to die.
Yeah.
That
Just-
those,
and then
that's
thrown-
a,
and
those
then
are
thrown
real
away.
cases. Those are. It's not. It didn't just happen one time. It's happened. I don't know how many times, but it's happened
And the
more
fact
than
that-
once.
And the fact that Kamala Harris denied this, knowing
Yeah.
she picked the vice president that obviously knows about all this because it was passed by him. And,
Yeah, he was the one. Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
just absolutely insane. Have you seen his wife speak?
No, the
Yeah.
the running vice
The
president.
running vice president.
No.
Yeah, she was all like, when it comes to Kamala Harris, change the page, change the page. She said like 100 times,
Oh,
change
really?
the page. And dude, you can look at Tim Walsh and he's all like, oh God, shut up. Like it was so annoying.
She's not on the Harris team. She's
Yeah, she's in the Harris team, obviously, because her husband's running for the vice president.
But there's video of her kind of being like, "I don't like Harris," kind of thing.
She don't like
Obviously,
Trump.
What's the change the page when it comes to Harris? Change
No,
the
because
page.
that's a
What does
saying
mean?
that Harris once, like on the debate, she was saying it's time to change the page and move on from all this. You'd ask her a question, right? You say, "Hey, what do you
okay.
think about the economy and how you're going to fix inflation?" Well, when I was a little girl, it's like dumb shit. Like,
I won't even answer that question.
Yeah, I'm
we
like-
just talk about my childhood.
I'll
for
just
the
talk
next
about
5
my
minutes.
childhood,
Yeah.
and all the Americans
Yeah.
need to change the page
Yeah.
and move on and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah. Which the moderators could have said that to her. You didn't answer the question. You know who they
Yeah.
did say it to? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
when
And
he didn't answer the question exactly how they thought he should. You didn't answer our question, Mr. Trump.
And
you know?
that's his fault for not being like, hey, she didn't answer the question.
Yeah, it's like she didn't answer hers.
If he would have said that, let's say he would say that 6-7 times, people would be like, okay.
Yeah, it's like how many
it's
times
getting
are you going to
annoying
ask
already.
me to answer the question and not her?
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro.
It was crazy fact checking.
Yeah.
But that's her policies are just unbelievable. And yeah, you get the Biden policies, Biden administration. Kamala Harris is the Biden administration. Just she's a different person, you know.
Right.
And he pointed that out. He said, "Well, where were you back in 3 years ago? Why having? Well, obviously, I'm not Joe Biden." I'm like, "Yeah, we know you're not Joe Biden, but you were the vice president for the last 3.5 years."
Might as well be in my eyes,
Yeah.
Just in the sense like if your policies are gonna mirror that of Joe Biden. I felt like Joe Biden was probably a puppet. You were probably the one pulling the strings the whole time, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden was asleep half the time. I felt like, if not more.
The Democrats own that.
They
party.
were just in his ear. Yeah, everybody was just in his ear, telling him what to do, what to say, what to pass. It was.
Even though Joe Biden was incoherent, I mean, how easy was it to get rid of him? They did it. Like, oh, you know what? You suck at this debate. You did awful. You fell asleep or whatever the case may be. You're gone.
Yeah.
How easy. That's the president of the United States, dude. And that's how manipulative the Democratic Party.
He was weak, man.
Yeah.
He was weak.
Which I agree. He was weak.
Yeah.
And they should have done that. But it was easy for them. So how easy, how influential are they're going to be with Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris ain't going to have one word in her opinion because they're going to control everything.
Yeah.
And then she was all like, "Oh, when I pass this law, don't you know you got to go through Congress first to pass? You're lying to us.
Yeah.
You can't pass a law until Congress approves of it."
Yeah.
You
can try.
And again, Trump missed it. Trump missed it. No. Trump should have said that. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. She was definitely, not truthful in a lot of things she said. The moderators didn't, step in where they should have with that.
Right.
It's
and if I was a soldier overseas, I'm fighting for our country, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to all the vets and all the soldiers. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Definitely.
They I feel like they need more appreciation than what we give them.
Oh, for sure.
Because if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be to live the way we live. Freedom.
No, we're privileged because of them.
Yeah. So shout out to them, and that's insulting to them. It's absolutely insulting saying, "Well, we have no soldier." Where the fuck am I at? Why am I over here in another country fighting for
defending your freedom?
Yeah, and you're over here saying there's nobody there. That's insulting. I feel.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have some family members that are in the military. I would have loved to ask them that question and see what they've their opinion on it.
Yeah,
it would be an interesting. I haven't talked to any of them yet, but
yeah,
that would be super. And I'm sure they were insulted. I mean, wouldn't you be?
I would be. If I was already deployed and I'm out here doing my service, and I hear something like that from who's supposed to be the next president of the United States, it's like, man, that's like not a very good vote of confidence from her.
And then when he brought up the fact that she denied to meet up with Zelensky from Ukraine, the president of Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
And she says, "No, I've met with him." That's a lie. She missed. There was 6 opportunities she had to go meet up with him, and she absolutely zero opportunity. Never actually met with him. And then she says the fact that, you can control Putin and you can control North Korean. What's North Korean?
Kim Jong.
Kim Jong-un. Yeah. You can control him because you're a dictator. No, because they know that Trump says what he says is going to happen.
Yeah.
They're absolutely. Yeah. What do you do to the Taliban? He said when they were trying to pull the troops out of Afghanistan, right? Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. They said if any of our soldiers get injured during this this movement that we're trying to move all our soldiers, and then he gave him a picture of his house saying, "We will fuck you up."
Yeah.
That's why they're scared. He's not a fucking dictator. They're just scared of him.
You're already in our sights if you try to mess with us, so just try it.
Do you imagine Kamala Harris doing something like that?
No, dude.
Hell no.
No. She's not one. She's not gonna. She doesn't make those types of strong moves, and very public about it. The way that Trump is. Very like, I will use the power of the military, as I need to. When I need to show some force, I'm gonna do it. And you're not gonna like it.
And what a shit show when the Biden administration took all the soldiers from Afghanistan, and the Taliban just took over the next day.
Yeah, they left all kinds of equipment.
They left all kinds of equipment, which was paid by us.
Yeah. People who had supported us were now left to deal with that. Try to do. I mean, I'm sure there was so many people who suffered and died just because they supported, American troops.
And you pretty much improved their military.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you gave them tanks, ARs. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't body armor. I mean, it was insane. What
Yeah.
a shit show! And then
And
to have the nerve to be
yeah,
like, "Well, we did a good job during that." I'm like, "No, you didn't."
no, not at all. And I want to also highlight the whole Ukraine Russia thing, the way that we're supporting Ukraine in all like in this, which I don't think is probably a good idea in how much that we've supported them with military aid and things like that. It's obviously that they're using our military
Right.
equipment against Russia. Russia sees this. It's not mending any type of relationship that we have with Russia to be supporting Ukraine in the way that we are.
Yeah, I agree. You got to fix the United States before you try to fix another country. That's the
Yeah.
way I see it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with other countries already relying on the United States to step in, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. You're part of NATO. There's an agreement that NATO's pretty much if one goes to war, we all go to war. It actually started right after the World War II because
Yeah.
of Hitler,
Yeah.
and ironically, Germany's in it.
They're in
they're in
NATO
NATO,
now. Yeah.
now, which I guess is a good thing.
No, it
But
is, yeah.
but to sit there and be like, okay, you have people living in this. Have you been to San Diego? I mean, not San Diego, San Francisco. Have you seen the poverty that's in San Francisco, the streets of San Francisco? Elon Musk had to leave his headquarters there because there was just homelessness all around. Like, it was horrible.
Oh, really?
It was absolutely horrible. There's vets, vets that come, that go to countries, fight for us, come to the United States, and yeah, they're going to be a little fucked up, of course, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that anyone can just endure. And instead of helping vets, they're homeless. But yet you're helping Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely like the use of resources could definitely go.
$100 billion you send to Ukraine, you can't help vets?
Yeah.
I mean, are you shitting me?
A fraction of that.
Could
change their lives.
Could definitely change their life. These are people that defended our country.
Yeah.
And this
crazy.
is the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And that's
if they really cared, about people like the way that they want to claim, there would be a big difference in how they're spending their resources. Absolutely.
It's because there's no plan. There's no plan. They just go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump, his plan, the thing with the United States, and I believe, the both parties and even Congress, they suggest, I'm sure Donald Trump has a lot. I know Congress passes laws and you got to go through them but Donald Trump or not Donald Trump, but the president itself has a lot to say, and they'll definitely take that in consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the kind of guy be like, no, I don't want to do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He cannot be manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can pay this guy to manipulate him. He's making $1 million a year. I guess that's what a presidential term. They make like $1 million for the 4 years that they're there, or every year. I'm sorry, but $4 million for Donald Trump ain't nothing. Ain't shit.
Didn't he give that money away anyway?
Yeah, he donated that money. Supposedly that's what he said.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't do that. But yet someone like Kamala Harris, she's just going to get ran the fuck over. And that's why the Democratic Party loves this choice, because they can do the same shit they did with Biden with her.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of puppet.
She's
her
a puppet.
Ass. Yeah.
And all they give a fuck about is profit, profit, profit. That's why this whole immigration law, I guess you don't even need an ID. They want to pass out a law that you don't even need an ID to be a registered voter.
Oh, wow.
Which is insane.
That's
absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
They get all the immigrants to vote. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
How else are you going to win?
Yeah, pray that never happens. That would be
It can be false statement. I'm not sure. That's just what I heard.
Yeah.
It can be true though. And if it's true, that's insane.
Yeah, it would be insane. I think everybody would have to agree, Democrat or Republican would have to agree that is an insane idea.
Yeah.
You should not have no ID, when you go to vote. You should have an ID. Well, you need to have some proof you are a citizen. Yeah.
You get into these fancy hotels, you're paying them $1,500 a week.
Yeah.
I mean, why work? You're making it easy. And then election time comes, hey, come vote.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nuts.
It's crazy.
You're going to tell me you can't give $1,500 to a vet or to help the economy or to lower inflation? I mean, everything they want companies outside the United States, and Trump wants it in the United States. So what happens was, if it's in the United States, guess what? Inflation goes down. We don't have to pay as high much. And
Yeah.
oil is a big. I mean, we have
That's a big reason.
Alaska is one of the biggest oil locations in the world.
There's a lot of oil there. Yeah.
A lot of fucking oil in Alaska. But yet, why are we getting it from China and all that?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Why? Because they want good relationships with China.
Yeah.
They want to say, well, we're buying this from you. You buy this from us. You do this. We do that for you. You scratch my back.
Are we buying oil from China?
I mean, or
Saudi?
Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia or something like that.
You know, fuck. China's economy is going to shit.
I know. Yeah. We buy a lot from China.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think Trump did kind of or he like made it a big. He put huge tariffs on Chinese goods. You know, where if we were going to buy their products, we needed to have a better deal.
Right.
You know, and that's and the good thing about Trump is that he kind of makes sure that when deals like that happen, that there's a lot that happens that's good for us as well. You know, we don't take the short end of the deal.
Right.
With Trump. You know?
And everything we're purchasing in China or whatever we're purchasing outside of the U.S., if you can do it in the U.S., you know how many jobs that creates, right?
Yeah.
That creates
a lot.
Hundreds of thousands of job openings.
Why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, but the Democratic Party doesn't want to because they need their relationships. They need to be in good terms with all these countries because they're, like I said, you scratch my back, I scratch your kind of back. And Trump's not like that. Trump's not like, no, fuck you guys. Mm-hmm. This is what we're going to do because I've never seen a country get so pissed off for someone that wants their own country to improve.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants his own country to improve, but he's a racist. He's not saying
like putting America first is racism. I don't see
every fucking country does that. You think the Saudis? Exactly. They're okay. Let's put this country. You think they do that?
No.
You think fucking China, Russia? You think Russia's gonna say, let's put U.S. before us?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah. It would be nice, if we lived in a world where everybody loved everybody and everybody wanted good for everybody, but that's just not the world that we live in, okay? Like, we have to make sure that, the country has to make sure that it's in good standing with itself, and that we can do good for our citizens, that our citizens are the number one priority. Illegal immigrants coming out of the country are no priority at all, outside of getting them out of here and making sure that they come through in a legal way and that they can also contribute to this great country.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people realize how great this country really, really is.
No, I think a lot of people underappreciate it and
definitely
and having the privilege to be born here.
Yeah. I mean, people are dying just to be born here. People are crossing and I mean, there's other countries like in Europe are great as well.
Yeah,
every country has its own beauty.
Yeah, there's a lot of good places out there.
I'm sure
America's not the only one. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're one of the ones that were like the.
You're not gonna get crucified for saying something.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedoms you have here. You know, a lot of freedoms. Second Amendment, First Amendment, all that type of stuff. Is freedom. A lot of freedoms you don't have in a lot of other places. So, appreciate what you got, to be able to, have your right to bear arms, to protect yourself, to protect your family, protect your property, in an effective way. Right. I think that a lot of people don't appreciate that just because, I feel like, there's definitely bad people out there, okay? Bad things happen, and I don't think that those should be the reasons why we give up our liberties, though.
No. And which I think is very strange, Kamala Harris, and I think not just Kamala Harris, everyone is for women's rights, obviously, right? And you do deals with like Saudi Arabia, but yet they didn't have any women's rights till women weren't even allowed to drive till 2016.
China, if you want to talk about racism and sexism and things like that, these countries that Democrats want to protect and be like, oh, you can't be racist against them. Well, they're actually some of the biggest racists, some of the biggest sexists.
It's their culture, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, just look at Chinese culture and Chinese law and things like that. It's like women are second class citizens, absolutely.
Right. North Korea. Yeah, I mean,
North Korea.
You don't even if you're a woman, you don't even have a saying.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to speak over a man. Yeah. You're not allowed to even. I don't even know if they can work.
Yeah.
They're not
I
allowed to
don't.
do anything.
I have no idea
Obviously,
about
they
that.
can't
Yeah,
drive. They
that
can't do.
wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
And then people say, "Oh, this country's shit." I'm
Yeah.
like, "You
Or
fucking
places in the
kidding
Middle
me?"
East, you know, places in the Middle East, it's like it's terrible for
It's
women.
terrible,
Yeah.
absolutely terrible. So, I just, man, it just mind
America's
boggles
great,
me.
man.
America
I'll
is
say it
great.
again. America's a great place.
I'm very fortunate and blessed to be here, and I absolutely love it. And that's why I talk about these things, because I don't know if people are just ignorant, or maybe they just hate Trump so much that they are ignorant about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Because you can't obviously say, "Oh yeah, this country's crap," when there's women that are CEOs of companies here. There's a vice president running for president, and she's a woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't sit there and be like, "Well, America's shit." No, it's not.
It's like that. We even have like, a system where a woman can run for president is a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people go in the past, obviously with like slavery and everything, women's rights women's rights weren't until the 1950s, I believe, or late 1940s. But they go back in the past. Well, we're in 2024 now. We've progressed, right?
Yeah.
As a nation.
Yeah.
You can't bring that shit back.
No.
You can't say, well, America was run by slaves. Well, yeah, they were, but
So it was like 95%.
yeah, 95% of the world. Look at Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil was pretty much a slave country.
Yeah.
For the Portuguese and for the Spanish. Those are. Which
before
is not
slavery was abolished. There were free men that were black, and even they owned slaves.
Yeah, they owned slaves. So it was like a common thing. I guess the first American slave owner, and might be. I want to say it's. I actually read about this not too long ago. I don't remember his name exactly, but he was a black person. He was the first American slave owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which was absolutely nuts. So, is it really about slavery, or is it more about like, oh, I own a business, I need people to work for me, and they just did it the wrong way?
Yeah, definitely. Slavery is wrong.
Absolutely.
Number one thing I want to say here is slavery is wrong. But to say, that we understand it fully and that it was I can't talk too much on it. I don't know a lot, but there's definitely a lot of things that they want you to believe that's not true, and things that they want you to just not look at all too that are true. Things like what we just said. For one of the first slave owners was black.
Right.
That's pretty crazy. Oh, and there were black slave owners. People who were black that owned slaves. It's like, so it was just something that the world had.
Right.
That it was a common thing in the world, and luckily,
it was fucked up.
Luckily, at some point in our history, we said, no, we can't be doing this anymore as a people, as a nation, as a world. We got to do away with this once and for all. This is immoral.
That's what the whole Civil War was about, 1963.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, when he tried to pass that law, there was obviously the Civil War going on between the southern colonies and northern colonies, right?
Yeah.
The northern United States had they had slaves, but it wasn't as common as in the southern. Right.
Yeah.
So what that whole war was about, and then when they assassinated Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, who was the runner-up for president, he tried to put that law back into place.
Oh, tried to bring slaves back.
Yeah, he tried to bring that law back, and it's absolutely nuts. Like you already got this good thing going, and now you're gonna fuck it up again. And that's like you were saying, it's just the mentality back then, and it was just it was horrible.
It's like people did not want to give that up. It was something that people just were they just grew very used to. It's like something that helped them bring their status up. It helped them work their land. It helped them with a lot of things. Now we got to think about if today there's a lot of things I can say about the internet and bad things about the internet. Now,
right.
If we try to get rid of the internet, that would be impossible almost.
Absolutely
or
impossible.
Just impossible in general. So I feel like there's things, and I don't think that the internet's inherently bad. Obviously, I think it can be used for bad. It can be used for good. Slavery was just a bad thing.
Yeah.
Slavery was just terrible.
They just weren't educated enough,
and I'm glad that it's like a thing of the past, and we as a people have evolved past that, and we're just no longer doing things like that anymore.
But we just can't bring that back up like
all the
Kamala
time.
says, change the
Yeah.
page.
Yeah, exactly. Can we please change the page? Come
Yeah,
on, I mean, geez.
and
But
even like
yeah.
during the Egyptian times, Egyptians enslaved their own people, Irish people enslaved their own people.
Yeah.
You want to talk about slavery? Africa, who do you think sold the slaves to the European countries, where they own African people?
Yeah.
They just didn't show up.
Africans.
They didn't just show up and be like, "Hey, everyone, hop on this boat."
Yeah.
There were
already
deals, and it was just horrible time. And I'm glad we're past it. And it's just very interesting how people want to bring that back. And
I don't know why it's something
they don't
that
want to bring it back. They want to bring it up all the time.
Yeah, they just want to hash out that how bad America was for there ever being slaves here in America.
Right, and America is one of the youngest countries. I think it's 300 years old, a little less than that. So if it was just because it happened here, it didn't. It wasn't necessarily just here. It was all over the world. All over the world.
Yeah.
And
and there's probably some that got treated very horribly, even worse than some. So there's probably people that treated, slaves well, and there was definitely the ones that treated them.
Well, let me ask you this: what's any difference of that? But nobody talks about like Syria, what they do to women in slavery. That's the thing. They use them as sex slaves. They use them as labor slaves. I mean, there's children in Thailand working. Yes, we've gone past that, but there's other countries that might have not.
Exactly. There's a lot, and I don't think that we're completely past that either. You think that?
Oh, really?
You think that? Yeah. No. You think that rumors, that we hear about the sex trade and slavery, or just human trafficking, the rumors that we hear about celebrities in Hollywood and stuff, you think that that's just coincidence that there's rumors like that happening? It's a real thing that's happening even here still.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not something, and I think there's very powerful people in politics and in Hollywood that because of their status and how much money and how much influence they have, they're able to
can get away with.
Keep this thing, this monster going.
But of course, if Donald Trump brings that up, fact check, that's not true. And that's what really bothered me about the debate. And it really did. And I just thought that, I feel like we've progressed economical wise. No, we have not. We keep going up and down, up and down, up and down. But that's just that's all politics. And that's for, the Democratical Party to get more money. How is it that a politician, Nancy Pelosi, is estimated that she makes about $1 million a year, so forth, right? How does she own a $50 million jet?
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I have no idea. That's
crazy.
Probably just from donated funds from people or something like that.
Donate to me.
It's I have the Nancy Pelosi Foundation. That's it's a charity,
Right. Yeah. It's just absolutely insane what's going on in the world. And this whole thing with like Syria and Israel, I think we should help just for the mere fact because Israel's kind of alone in the middle of countries that just want to demolish them.
Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right. Ironic. They're right in the middle of countries around them. They're Islamic belief, right?
Yeah.
And they want the Jewish. That's the major religion over there. It's Jewish, right? And they want them distinct.
And Islam.
Yeah, and Islam.
Yeah, and that's where all the fighting is among Jewish states and Islamic states.
I heard that Israel actually was 1942 is when it really started becoming a Jewish country.
1942?
Yeah. So for thousands of years, that's why they've been fighting forever.
I thought they were Jews forever.
I thought so too, but one of my professors at school said that that's actually something new. Like in 1942 is when actually the Jewish population was
really
in Israel.
Was there ever a point where there like where the Jewish population was high and then it went low and then it's high again, or did it only get high in 1942?
It kind of took over in 1942, but
really?
Yeah, and what I said, obviously he knows 1,000 times more than I. Yeah, I'm not going to second guess him. But when you have the era of Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah,
Jesus was a Jew in Israel.
I'm sure he was in it, but he was born in Bethlehem, right? And then,
there was no religion really,
Yeah, there was no thing like Christianity during that time. Obviously, it was. Later when followers of Jesus Christ. That's how Christianity began, with followers of,
Right.
it just continued on, preaching Jesus Christ, and that's where
So, but it is kind
Christianity
of crazy
came
that
from.
the 1942, which is actually, look it up. I looked it up and
You really,
it's,
yeah, that
it's
is
true.
crazy. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
and they've been fighting for that because they took over their land
Yeah.
but Syria's just doing it the wrong way.
They've been fighting for a long time too.
Oh, the Palestinian war?
Yeah.
Oh God, dude.
That's hundreds of years, right?
Thousands of years
Yeah.
that they've been fighting. The Palestinians they just can't get over it, I guess. And it's all for land. So I don't know. And I think this kind of with Ukraine.
Do they look at Israel as like a holy land the same way that Israel looks at it like that? Or
absolutely not. No.
No. Oh, okay.
No. I mean, look what they're doing. They're not only they're constantly getting attacked, but they're like raping women, killing children, babies.
Yeah, which is crazy. That there's how crazy the like that side of Islam is in terms of the like the extremism that Islam goes to for their own beliefs. It's just this is something that like you don't see except for like in the medieval era, when Christianity was killing in the name of God and things like that, doing genocide in the name of God. That was like a medieval era thing, and they're ready to do it now in this modern time, which is, to me, it's a crazy thing. And that's why I feel like there's not a lot of defense a lot of things I can say to, like, what can you say to defend Islam?
Right.
I'm sure there's good Islamic people out there who are good people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But how do you defend that type of thing happening?
It's the same thing with like the immigration
they
law.
believe the same thing that you do, but for whatever
the same thing with the immigration law.
Yeah.
You have a lot of immigrants that come here, and they're actually good people that want to have a good life with their family. And they're hardworking people. But yet there's people that come over here and fuck the system up, and they kind of get involved in that too because they're in they might be the same race or come from the same place or whatever the case may be, and that's totally unfair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, religion has a lot to do with a lot of wars, and I just don't understand why. Because you assume religion has, it's a peaceful, it's a belief, it's a spirituality. But
yeah, I think it should be all about love when it comes to religion and spirituality. It should be all about love. And there's so much hatred,
the people get so upset if you don't believe what they believe.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's absolutely weird.
It's so weird, because it contradicts so many of people's beliefs, that they're trying to say that they believe in, like for you to be so like passionate in terms of like, to an extreme level of passion, not just passion is like, I really love, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this is the way, kind of thing, like that type of passion that borders onto anger. And
I feel like a lot of people practice and spend hours and hours reading the Bible or
which I respect them actually a lot.
Not just the Bible, but any religion, right?
Yeah.
And you spend your whole life believing this, and someone comes and changes your mind.
Or tries to, or says that you're wrong,
well, no. If someone comes and changes your mind, right? And I'd be like, well, I just wasted 20, 30 years of my life believing on something.
Maybe
that's not.
You could look at
so
it
that's like
that.
An ego kind
That's
of.
one way
deal.
you could look at it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and that's just again back to Kamala Harris and Trump. The questions that should have been asked weren't asked, and the answers that we wanted. Because inflation was the economy, the inflation. That's what I was really interested in, and it was not. She did not answer it at all.
No,
and to get away with it, and then to say, "Oh yeah, she won," it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I feel like it was just an all around loss for everybody. We didn't get what we wanted out of the debate.
Yeah, we didn't get absolutely nothing out of the debate. And what's just crazy is would you want to see a second debate?
I would want to, but like I was saying, I think that it needs to be on different terms. It needs to be on Trump's terms this time, and I feel like that would only be fair because of how many rules that he abided by from Harris. He was like, "Oh, you're going to do it with ABC moderators. There's going to be no crowd. There's going to be, we're going to turn off the mics when I'm talking."
Why don't you think they want a crowd? Because you think that influences and gives one of the presidents like confidence. Like if you're saying, yeah, I'm going to stop inflation, this is how I'm going to do it, and the crowd cheers, then let's say Trump says that makes Kamala Harris look bad.
Yeah, I just think that it keeps them honest in terms of like what they're saying.
Right.
And I think the crowd's reaction can can be a good judge of whether or not this is actually decent rhetoric that you're talking about, decent policy that you're talking about, and can also like show where the real support lies, you know,
exactly.
Among the people, you know.
Right.
She can keep it ambiguous this way and keep it like not clear and keep it like and be like, yeah, I did win that, you know, when if the crowd was there and if you would have listened to the crowd and their reaction to what was being said, that can really influence like
you're absolutely right. Yeah, because
how people look
if she didn't answer the question, she might have got booed.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely. You're on the spot right there, Thomas. That's absolutely correct.
I think the crowd can have a huge swing on how candidates kind of answer and how they just, you know, conduct themselves. Right. And I think Trump thrives with a crowd, and I think that Kamala Harris would just wilt.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting too, and that brought to my attention not too long ago, was when you go to a Trump rally, you have Trump, you know, giving out his policies and so forth.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you go to a Kamala Harris rally, which there is people there, but you have artists like Taylor Swift performing, or I don't know who was, Megan Thee Stallion performing.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a bullshit tactic to bring people to your rally, right?
Yeah.
Like so they're gonna be like, well, I don't really give a shit about Kamala Harris, but I want to go see Megan Thee Stallion
for real
for free. You're gonna have a couple thousand extra people there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How manipulating is that shit?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Absolutely manipulated, bro.
Very dishonest way to to like show things. Yeah.
Well, Thomas, this was such a good conversation.
Oh, it's been great, bro.
Oh God, dude, we can talk about this for another couple more hours, but
I hope we didn't get under people's skin too much with some of our opinions, but I feel like, you know, it was I think it's a good conversation to have, and I love having it with anybody who's, you know, on either side of the fence.
I love talking to people with different opinions. I mean, it can be politics, history, it can be whatever, because it gives me, like, if you can change my mind, right? Yeah. Then I know you're telling me something right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. Like, I just want to do the right thing, and I'm sure a lot of people want to do the right thing. And once they learn something new and be like, well, you know what? I was looking at it this way, but maybe it's this way.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with having your own opinion. That's the whole beauty of having your own brain, your own mind, is to have your own opinion.
Living in a country like this, you know.
Living in a country like this. How bullshit would it be if everyone just was robotic and be like, we're going to, you know, have the same opinion.
You can't say this, but you can say this, and you can't say that.
It's crazy.
This is okay. Yeah, no, I'm grateful to be here, and America's a great place, and let's keep her free.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, anything else? That's it, Thomas?
That's all I got, bro. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thanks, everybody.